This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody. It is January the 7th, and we are here to hang out together and have some fun together. And that is perfectly fine that you have to take off, Sean. That's perfectly fine. If you have to come and go through the workshop, totally respect it. And I'll do my best to let you in as you come back. Welcome, everybody. And I'm going to spend a second and just mute you guys, more for just feedback as we get going here.
Listen to this?
And if you want to mute yourself, feel free to. It just helps for the feedback and the quality of the recording, because there's a lot of people who registered for this. Not everybody's here. And thank you, everybody who showed up live. I super, super appreciate it. One of the funnest things about what I do for work is to teach a live audience. So really appreciate you showing up here today. So welcome, guys. And you saw my little notes about the recording on the side. So before we actually get rolling here, let's just take a second to meditate and bring our energies together. Go ahead and close your eyes. Exhale and just let your body sink into your chair or your support. Inhale, let your belly rise. Exhale, let your belly fall. Inhale, take a low, slow flow of breath in. Exhale, take a low, slow flow of breath out. Taking each inhale and matching it with an exhale. Becoming present and conscious with each breath, in and out. Belly rises and belly falls. On the next cycle of breaths, see if you can make the breaths longer. Maybe inhaling to the count of 5 and exhaling to the count of 7. Just slowing the breaths down. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling and exhaling. If you've never done this before, and a lot of you have, invite in what we call your divine support team. What this means is I'm asking you to bring in your guides, your ancestors, all of the non-physical energies of love that are here to support you in this session that we have together. They are here to support you through life, through all the ups and downs, and they hold the energy of unconditional love. So with your deep belly breaths, even if you don't know what you're doing, you can't get this wrong, bring all the energy of love in. And imagine this energy circling all around you. With each breath, let your shoulders soften down. And with each inhale, let your belly rise. A lot of you have really, really tight necks. So imagine I opened up, there you go, open up the back of your neck. Beautiful, perfect. That lets the energy flow. Take a few more breaths. And then when you're ready, roll your shoulders back, take a morning stretch if you wish. Thank yourself for being here and go ahead and open your eyes. Welcome, everybody. Thank you again for showing up live. I love the fact that you're here. And thank you for those of you watching the recording. I love the fact that y'all are here. Thank you again. I know there's a lot you can do at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. So thank you for spending it with me. It's truly an honor. Like, I love what I do for work. I'm blessed. And so I have huge gratitude for you for showing up. So thank you. Let me just tell you a little bit about today's class. And if you haven't read the side chat, and if you can't read the chat, just hit Q&A, hit the chat box on the bottom. But basically, we're together for, I don't know, an hour and a half. I said this before I hit record. I have a section I'm going to teach that I literally downloaded a couple hours ago that I know what I'm going to teach. In this section, if there's questions, just type them into the chat box. I'm going to record this section with just my video being live. Then at a certain point, I'll stop this part and then I'll go to Q&A, which is completely interactive. And that's where your videos are seen. So you guys can play with that. And if you don't want your videos on for that, just take them off. A couple of things I'm going to ask you for today's class. We've brought in our divine support team, our guides, our angels, our ancestors, which are here to support us. This whole class is just about love. So just be open to that. I'm probably going to say 1,000 things today. If you love 800, take the 800 and walk, and just leave the 200 behind. Cool? If you love 900, take them. Just don't, if you don't like 10 things I'm saying, don't worry about it. Just leave them behind. I'm not offended. The other thing I ask for tonight's class, or today's, is that we all be respectful for each other. There's a lot of people here live and recorded. Let us hold unconditional love for each other. So if you haven't done so already, with your eyes closed, imagine us all standing in a circle, linking hands. So the eyes closed and your breath moving. Imagine you're giving love, unconditional, to the person on your right. I want you to see it moving around the circle and then coming back to you on the left. So you've just received energy and given energy of love. And the more you do that, the more we can hold a space of unconditionality and deep respect for each other, for each of us are going through. A few more breaths. And then when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Welcome, guys. All right, so let's start. So today, I'm going to keep saying tonight. In today's class, I'm going to be using a couple words, and some of these words, I'm not going to say they're going to offend you, but if you hear a word and you're like, ugh, don't like that word, change it. So the word that may kind of trigger you the most, I'm going to use the word God. That word is you can also shift it to spirit, love, divine, the universe, energy. I'm not attached, okay? But if you hear me using the word God, don't freak out, okay? It doesn't mean that, like, everything I teach, there's nothing religious to it. It's all about us connecting with another part of us. So just FYI, I'm going to use that word a lot today. And again, if your brain works better with the word love, grab that. If your brain works better with the divine, grab that. Not attached. In the teaching of the work I do, people come to me, I always joke, people don't come to have coffee with me. That would be nice, but they don't. They come to me because there's something going on. Typically, it's health, relationships, or money. Those are the three things I see the most, okay? And in my work, there's actually two parts of us. There's the divine self, call it your God self. And then we have our mind self, call it your personality self. And if you're having issues in any area of your life, it's because those two parts of you don't overlap. And there's nothing wrong. Welcome to being human. And the hardest thing for us to understand is that we do have this God self, this part of us that's unconditional love. There is a part of us that loves us so much, to the moon and back. And all of the work I do is about making that part louder. And not about making the mind quieter, but shifting the perceptions of the mind so that they overlap with our divine self. Because our divine self, again, loves us to the moon and back. The divine self in us knows that we're capable, knows that we're lovable, knows that we're infinite energy, knows that anything we want, we can create, knows that manifestation is easy, knows that miracles can happen, knows that we can heal. And the only reason we're having a dysfunction in our life is because we're really busy, myself included, spending a lot of time in the mind chatter. So all of the work I do is about decreasing the volume of the mind and shifting the perceptions of the mind. So if you have, for example, a belief system that you're not enough, we've got to change that perception and make the louder voice that you are enough, which is your God self. So there's two major parts of my work: decreasing the mind and shifting the perception, and increasing the divine voice, because both go hand in hand. They're actually interlinked. We can't do one without the other. Now, a lot of people who teach the type of work I do, which is amazing, more than ever before, which is awesome. Sometimes they don't interlink the two, and that's fine. But in my work, that's what I do, okay? And in my work as well, and most of you have heard this concept, this is something that Wayne Dyer used to talk a lot about, is that in the divine self, each and every one of us are unconditionally worthy. Each and every one of us. Each and every one of us come from source, are part of source, and are all connected. Our true nature is love. Our true nature is hope. Our true nature is connection. Our true voice is, I am enough. And as we breathe that in, as you breathe that thought and statement in, you actually start to feel that you are. And then you have this little chattery voice over here that says, but you're not, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. And as we make that other voice louder, then we can shine light in the voice that says we're not and start to heal it. And that is the work. What Wayne Dyer used to talk about, I love this analogy. The ocean, I live in Vancouver. Some of you know I'm a block to the ocean. The ocean's right there. When my mother had me, the ocean represents God, represents spirit, represents the universe, whatever word you want to use. Unconditional love. When my mom had me, she took a bucket to the ocean and she took it into the water. She actually had sex and had me. But she took a bucket, went into the water, lifted it up and said, that is Divi. That is Divi. And the same happened to you, Kimber. The same happened to you, Chanel. Each and every single one of us. So each and every one of us are part of that magnificence. And our work in the human body, and if you're showing up to this workshop, is to find that once again. Because when we find that, then all those areas of the life, health, relationships, money, blah, 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 start to manifest with ease. We get miracles. A word that I sometimes use, I sometimes teach workshops that I call magic workshops. I change the title of my workshops all the time, but they're the same thing. I tease when I say that. But the word magic, I love acronyms, stands for me allowing God into my life to create. Me, the personality me, allowing the divine, allowing spirit, allowing love into my life to create. But in order to do that, I have to quiet the mind and let the God energy in. Because the divine energy is with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it never takes a break. And it's unbelievable. The only thing is the divine energy doesn't push and it just kind of sits there quietly, waiting for our minds to calm down so we can feel how much we're loved. So we can know how worthy we are. So in order to find that energy, we have to slow down the mind a little bit. Now, most of you have heard this too. We have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. And as we all know, a lot of them are on repeat and on shuffle, like over and over and over and over again. So much so, it almost feels like, oh. And when we're little, has like babies and kids and toddlers, they're not 40,000 thoughts a day. There's like just thoughts. And then as we get older, and most of you know, I've got a 17-year-old. I just realized like last night we're sitting, my husband and my son came home at about 9 o'clock and we were just sitting around talking, and his birthday's in, I think, 4 weeks. And I had this sudden realization that he turns 18. I kept saying, oh my God, you're 18. Oh my God. And around that age, 14 to 18, 14 to 19, somewhere in there, that voice just gets louder and louder and louder. And that's the benefit of being a parent. As I've just watched this, like, holy cow. And there's nothing wrong. But what I always say to him, and I'll say to each of you, we have to work through those 40 to 60,000 day thoughts because a lot of them don't serve us. And a lot of those thoughts are not even yours. They could be some stories that you picked up as a child. And then when we have those stories, those traumas, we imprint them into the back of our mind, our unconscious, subconscious. And I'll explain that in just a minute. We have all those thoughts. We have our conscious thoughts. And then we also have our DNA thoughts that we might not even know are there. There are the ancestral thoughts. And so digging through that, it's not that it's hard work. But what I always say to people is we have to do the work because you only have two choices in life. One is, okay, don't do the work, which is fine. Don't do the work. Don't do the spiritual work. No big deal. Don't do the work. No big deal. If you do that path, it's hard. Like it is hard. You have relationship issues, health issues. You see the doctor every week. It's exhausting. You're fighting with your partner all the time. 7th divorce. Do the work. It's hard. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's hard. Thoughts, emotions, meditate. Seriously, Divi, journal. Oh, but this work leads to greater ease, greater health, greater relationships, greater joy. And that is the choice each and every single one of us have at each moment of the day. And the work isn't something that we do once. It's not something, oh, I'll just go to this workshop and it'll be done. It's actually work that we do every single day. It's a regular thing. It's like putting on, it's like getting dressed. Most of us get dressed or shower every day. It's regular, but I will tell you, no matter which way you chose, it's work. Going back a sec. So it's 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. I want to go there for a minute, just to explain subconscious and unconscious thoughts, because it's super important. From the time you're 0 till about 15, and again, most of you know this, but I want to review some basic concepts. We have traumas occur, life occurs, and the trauma doesn't have to be that you're in the Ukraine right now fighting war. The trauma could be that your dad didn't pick you up from school on time. The trauma could be that your mom was never around. The trauma could be that a kid made fun of you at school and made fun of your pants. That could be your trauma. Doesn't have to be anything major. But what happens is from 0 to 15, if you ever have kids, and most of us know this, that childhood brain doesn't know how to get logical about the kid who made fun of me. And what happens is 0 to 15, here you are, trauma occurs. And then if it's something that really hurts us emotionally, a part of us is formed over here. I sort of describe it like that. And that story, that wound goes into your unconscious, subconscious mind. So let's just say you got made fun of at school. Then a story came into your head that you're not enough. That goes back there. Okay. And we all have many of these. A lot of the work I do, I help people to identify them. And this is the next crazy thing. These things, again, I do spiritual work. Okay. Just play with me. These things are actually what your soul chose to take on in this lifetime. Your soul said, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to pick up that belief that I'm not enough. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to pick up the belief that men suck. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to pick up belief that I can never have a relationship. And this is what you did. Your soul said, I was going to do that. Why? So you could not have a relationship the rest of your life? Why? So you could be poor the rest of your life? No. You picked up these to heal them. You picked up them for your soul expansion. You picked up them for who you're meant to be in the world. Okay? The next piece you want to understand is that life is like a revolving staircase. We just keep repeating our patterns. If you don't know, just sit back and watch people, and it's just like, wow, he's doing the abandonment wound again. Oh, wow, she's doing the rejection wound again. And there's nothing wrong. And they're all from those unconscious, subconscious patterns. And they might show up in relationships, health, money, whatever. And then we keep repeating them. And we're like, damn, I'm so tired of this. And until you do the spiritual work, you can't heal it, okay? Because in the spiritual work, these parts can be healed. And then as you heal it, you move from the contrast, the stuff you don't want, to the clarity, the stuff you do want. I'm kind of laughing because I'm like, wow, that was a lot in like 20 minutes. That was a lot to pack in. But all your guides are saying you guys are with me. So, and again, type in questions if anything comes up. Now, the next thing I want you to understand, please, I'm an intuitive. I feel energy for a living, and it feels like y'all are with me. But if I've lost anybody, please type it in. The next part you want to understand is that we have these neural pathways. I'm actually repeating myself, but saying it in a different way. We have neural pathways from our childhood, from our upbringing, from our parents, from our DNA lineage. And some of those patterns might be guilt. Some of those patterns might be fear, anger, resentment, whatever. And again, until you start to do the work, just because of that revolving staircase, you'll just keep repeating them. Okay? But this is the deal. Put that over there. Your God self is ready to heal them. The divine in you doesn't know limitations. The divine in you can heal it like that. The divine in you doesn't see you as not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough. The divine in you does not carry those woundings. And as you do the work, which is really the rest of your life, you're going to heal those wounds. And that is the work. So, any comments, questions before I take you into the process? Oh, sorry, there's one more thing. I wrote these cards before I started because this is what they want to teach today. There's one other thing that's super important for you to understand, but I'll probably repeat a few times. So with these unconscious patterns, okay, that most of us don't know, grab that in second, Audrey. So these unconscious patterns, okay, and those unconscious patterns run us. I'm going to give you an example. I was teaching this in the Mind, Body, Spirit class the other day, and I'm going to give you an example. So let's just say you have a thought that said, or an unconscious pattern that says, I need to be busy because I need to prove my worth. Let's just say. And you kind of are working on your healing on it, but you have these like habits. And the habit might be grabbing the phone every 10 seconds. Super common. I got to check. That you only have these habits that don't serve you. And some of them society loves because of an unconscious pattern. But you can tell yourself, and this is New Year's, right? New Year's resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm not going to be on my phone so much. I'm going to stay off of social media. I'm going to whatever. But none of those resolutions will actually work until you heal the reason you're doing it. Just like every addiction. Until you understand why you do X, Y, Z, it's impossible to heal it because it comes from an unconscious pattern of pain that wants to be healed. And thank you for typing that in, Bernard. I appreciate that. Okay, ready for a process? Gotta have pen and paper? Yay, okay, let's do a process. All right, grab pen and paper, or you can do this on your phone if you want, if you just want to type into your notes section. All right, on the top of the page, I want you to write topic, whatever topic you want to work on in your life. It could be health, relationships, money, whatever. Or it could be my husband drives me crazy. It could be my wife spends too much money. I don't care what topic you would choose. Just write it in one line. Then under that topic, write the emotion you feel. And I want you to pick a topic that doesn't feel so good. I want you to pick a topic like, oh, creates anger or fear or worry or resentment. And I want you to write the topic in one line and then the emotion underneath it. The emotion might be anger, worry, resentment, sadness, fear, whatever emotion it is. I'll let you do that first. And then after you've done that, I want you to draw a line down the middle of your page. I'll show you what I mean. Draw a line. I don't know if you can see that. Just draw a line down the middle of the page, okay? And on the left-hand side of the column, write mind. And on the right-hand side, write spirit. Okay? Just leave that for a second. I'm going to teach something before we do the process, okay? This is how it works. Here's your mind, and here's your spirit. My spirit hand is the one with my ring finger, okay? Your mind voice and your spirit voice. The mind goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Most of us know that. Damn, it's annoying sometimes, right? And then the spirit voice is also 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is how it works. When the content or the thoughts behind the mind, what you think about in the mind overlaps with what you think about in spirit. So these two contents of the voices overlap. Then the emotion that comes out is joy, love, freedom, well-being, amazing. So let's use an example from parenting. My mind thinks, oh, my kid's amazing. My mind thinks that. Spirit's going to agree with that. Got it? So the emotion is love or joy or well-being. Now the spirit will never, ever, 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 ever change its opinion ever on a topic. Never, never. You can never get spirit to think that my son sucks, even though I spent half an hour cleaning up this morning. You can never change spirit's voice about it. Got it? Your mind can change. So if your mind moves a little bit over here, the first emotion you might feel is frustration. Moves a little bit over here, it might be disappointment. Moves a bit more, it's blame. Moves more, it's anger. Moves all the way over, like as far as I can go 180 degrees over, that is fear. That is powerless, that's victim. Got it? Okay? So the only thing, I'm going to say it so loud, and I'm going to annoy everybody on my office floor. The only thing you can change is the mind. And you can make spirit louder, so it'll be easier to move your mind. Got it? Okay, now that you understand that. Now you've written your topic on the top, you've written your emotion under that. On the left-hand side of your column, do not do the right side yet. On the left side of your column, do a mind dump. Write 5, 10, 20, 1 sentence on what your mind thinks about the topic that's creating the emotion. Okay, so for example, if the topic was the house is a mess, or yeah, let's use my son is a little bit of a mess, and the emotion is frustration, then I would write, he always leaves stuff around. It's exhausting. I'm tired of cleaning up. And I would just write, he's 17. And just keep writing. Write on the mind side, whatever you want to write, and just keep doing it. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes of quiet. I don't stay quiet very often. And I'll just let you write. They said, no, I'm only going to give you 30 to 60 seconds. Because you already know what you think. Just write a few things down. What does your mind think that creates the emotion? Ten more seconds. Take a second, put your pen down, because you all know you can do this forever. Okay, so now you know what your mind thinks, okay? You know the emotion, because you wrote it on top of the page. If you want to change the emotion, go ahead and change it. And in this process, what I'm going to do is that we're actually going to start to hear what Spirit says, okay? Now, most of you know one of the most important processes that you will ever learn is meditation. The most important thing you will ever learn is meditation. Why? Because when you meditate, you quiet your mind. And then we're going to get Spirit to speak to us. So go ahead and close your eyes. And don't forget, I can see most of you. I'm teasing. Go ahead and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, just soften your shoulders down your back. And take a few breaths in and out. With your eyes closed, invite one hand if you wish to go on your belly button. And if you wish, place the other hand on your chest wall. And let's start to work on our breathing. Together as a group, take an exhale. And then inhale for the count of 1, 2, 3. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep a low, slow flow of your breath going in and out. Allow your belly to do more of the moving than your chest wall hand. Maybe you want your inhales longer to the count of 6. And your exhales slower to the count of 8. Go ahead. Maybe you want them shorter. The whole idea is to slow down the breathing. Like we did at the beginning, invite in your divine support team. Invite in your guides, your ancestors, all of the energies that are here to support you of love. Some of you work with the archangels. Some of you might work with specific entities like Christ, Buddha. It doesn't matter. Whoever you love to work with, bring them in. If this is the first time you've ever done it, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't do it wrong. Just bring in the energy of love. There you go. Good. And just go back into your breathing. I want you to imagine now that all of these energies want to send you some new thoughts. They want to send you thoughts from Spirit to create a better feeling emotion about what you wrote down. So everybody together, take an exhale. Soften your shoulders down, open the back of your neck, open your chest. There you go. And just keep breathing. Beautiful. Now invite in new thoughts, new sensations, new feelings to come towards you. These better feeling thoughts, these better feeling emotions are from Spirit. Right now, each and every one of your guides are sending you new thoughts. They're sending you new ideas. They're sending you new things to think the way Spirit thinks. And as those new thoughts start to come in, go ahead and write them down the right-hand side of the page. And just, if you're ever stuck, go back into your belly breathing. The answers are all there. After you write a few things down, go back into your meditation and see if there's more. Just keep doing this over and over again. Maybe there's another message that Spirit wants to send you. Write it down. Keep breathing in and out. Belly rises and belly falls. I want me to say to you, if anyone is stuck, go back to your breathing, release your attachment to the mind, and just be open that there's a different way to think and be. There you go. Good, good, good. Keep releasing the attachment and let the new thoughts come in. Beautiful. Again, go back to your belly breathing. There you go. Good, good. And just let it come in. Perfect. Take 10 or 20 more deep belly breaths. Please remember, a miracle from A Course in Miracles is defined as a change in perception. Right now, each and every one of our guides are sending us messages. They're sending us cues. They're sending us hope. And they're sending us love. Us being the reception of receiving it. Beautiful. Take a few more breaths. Write down anything else that comes. When you're ready, roll your shoulders back, stretch a little bit. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Some of you might want to stay here for another minute or two, which is fine. What I want you to look at your spirit side of the column. I want you to read what you wrote, and I want you to write a new emotion on the bottom of the page. What emotion are you now getting from what Spirit has sent you? If there's any comments or questions, I'm happy to address those. But remember, there's a Q&A in a short little while here. So if anyone got stuck, I will help you. And again, you can do it, address it now, or wait until the Q&A section. Totally up to you. Okay. Anyone want to share in the comment section what happened for them? That's what I'm getting guided to say. Anyone want to share anything? And if not, we'll keep going. I just want to make sure. Anyone want to share what happened? Or if you want to mute yourself, go ahead. Did most of you get something? I want to check in. Yeah, okay, thanks, Marley. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Robbie. Yeah, you got something. Okay, good. Awesome. We're good? Okay, perfect. All right, no shares yet. Okay, good. All right, so this is one of my favorite techniques ever to do. Like I said, I know where these things, I figure out what somebody wrote. I wrote health and panic and then just got calmness. So, okay, Vivian, that is a message. Okay, cool. Vivian just wrote, thank you, Vivian. Can I address that? She wrote health was the topic and panic, and then got calmness with no messages. Hun, calmness, okay, let me explain something and teach. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Ravi. Awesome. So calmness, Vivian, in itself is a message. Okay, massive message. What they're telling me is to say to you specifically, and don't get mad at me, and this is actually in the next section. You're very busy in your mind. So you can't hear the specific thoughts. Got it? But this is how it works, because you're actually now doing a segue into what I was going to teach next. So thank you. This is how it works. And who knows what comes in first? And Vivian's question was bang on, because you did get a message. Okay, so here's how it works. Here's your emotion. This is the heart chakra. Here's the emotion in the middle. And if you don't know, I teach with my hands like that tomorrow. Here's the emotion in the middle of the center of a magnetizing field. And here are your thoughts. Okay? Thoughts come in as a magnet to your emotion. And everyone goes, well, what comes first? I don't know. They kind of go hand in hand, straight up, okay? And I'm not going to try to sit here for hours trying to decipher it. But what I feel is going to magnetize thoughts. And that's so annoying. And I'm going to teach something in a minute that'll explain this. But Vivian, because your emotion is not often calmness, it was hard to receive it. Got it? But the longer you hold this new emotion, the easier those thoughts will come. And I'm going to teach this in the next section now. And Ravi wrote in, she was able to change a stressed emotion to calmness. Now, before I keep going, I want you to know, guys, I have a million processes, and there's a few of you here on the call. There's Nira and Sep and a bunch of you guys, and Linda, I'm not going to name who else is here, who've taken ICT, which is our intuitive coach training program. It's a 9-month immersion training that I do. And they will know this is one of the first processes I teach, but lucky them. They sit through each week learning new processes. I've got a gazillion processes. And I will also tell you, I never teach a process that I don't practice. Okay? But the more processes you have, the easier life is, right? Because when you hit a little dip, it's like, okay, what, not like, oh, what do I practice? The more you've got, the easier it gets. Okay, let's go back into teaching. So we talked about how the thought is the emotion in the middle, and the emotions in the middle and the thoughts come in. And if anyone's watched my Energy 101 video series, and I might include it in the what's it called? What is it called? Record, like when I send the email after, I'll send a recording video series I did that will help you if you like this next section of what I'm teaching. One of the most important things to understand is this concept of momentum. All momentum is thought becomes thought, becomes thought, becomes thought, becomes thought. And it's really easy. If I sit in the middle of an emotion of feeling powerless, and the thought comes in, I suck, then the next thing I know, and don't laugh, the next thought that will come in will, well, you're fat. The next thing that's coming is, well, then you're poor. The next thing that's coming is, well, you're an idiot. The next thing that's coming, what are you done with your life? Do you see how quickly that happened? Like within 2 seconds. And we all do that all day, every day. And it's no surprise that we have these dominant neural pathways of fear, anger, worry, resentment, and so on and so forth. We've got these other ones that are just a little thinner of joy and love. And we have to make these ones thinner and these ones thicker. That's what I talked about. But when you understand momentum, that thought 1 becomes thought 2 becomes thought 3 becomes thought 4. You also have to realize that you can break momentum. And it's probably the most important thing you'll ever realize. With every deep breath, and I have 16 of these a minute, with every deep breath, I break momentum. And as I break momentum, then there's quiet. And when there's quiet, I can swap in a new emotion. Now I swap in a new emotion, new thoughts can come. See how it works? That is something that we want to do all day, every day. And I'm going to teach one more thing. One of the other things I also teach a lot, and I practice everything I'm teaching, I practice. Before I go to bed at night, I usually read a spiritual passage. Right now, I'm studying A Course in Miracles again. So before I go to bed at night, I'll read the next day's passage. Okay. And because this day, whatever day, I think I'm on day like 85 right now. Tomorrow's day 86. So tonight when I go to bed, I'll read it. Why do I do that? So I read it before I go to bed. And then I get the emotion in my body. So I've got a new emotion in my body. I've got thoughts going on. Okay. So when I wake up in the morning and before I go to bed, I'm actually preparing myself, because one of the biggest things that breaks momentum in the world is sleep. And if you break momentum with sleep, then as soon as you wake up in the morning, you have a chance to put in a new emotion. If I read A Course in Miracles the next night before, like today, mine is something like, I'm going to paraphrase, I am open to miracles, or I can receive miracles, or something like that. So that thought, miracles are available to me, creates the emotion of love in my body. So I wake up in love, and the thoughts come in to match it. That's how it works. Then I might go and walk into the living room. The living room is a mess, and I swap it out with another one that doesn't feel so good. And here come the next thoughts. But I breathe 16 times a minute. I can take a big breath, break momentum. I can go back to how I woke up. I can go exercise. I can go do yoga. I can go to nature. All of those things are examples of things that break momentum. If I break momentum and start again with a new emotion, then new thoughts will come in. And as I do that regularly over and over and over again, I'm decreasing the neural pathways of fear and victim, and powerless and grief and guilt and anger. And I'm increasing the neural pathways of hope and love and joy and prosperity, and everything is possible. And what you want to understand is that it gets easier the more you do it. The more you put in the center of your emotion, love or joy, the thoughts get easier. Because at first, that little neural pathway of love is there, a little neural pathway of joy is there. But the more often you do what I just gave you as another process to start practicing. And I won't lie to you. I remember when I started doing this consciously, 12 or 13 years ago, it was challenging. Because I would start in the morning, it'd be great. 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm down on the ground. And then I would break it. It's like 9:15. Okay, great. 9:30 and back. But I would just keep practicing, because these other neural pathways of frustration and fear and all the ones were just really loud. That's it. But I'm going to sit here as a person who's going to tell you, I can do it. Anyone can do it. I say that over and over again. And the more you do that, the more your intuition wakes up. Because intuition is God's voice speaking to you. So if your mind gets quieter, you can make the divine's voice louder. And with time, Vivian, that will start to happen. The calmness is the divine coming through. And it gets easier and easier. I'm going to teach you a few more things. Any comments? Oh, no, they want me to. Okay. Okay. Another thing you want to understand. I'm not going to teach this process in detail, but I'll give you an understanding of it. Most of you have heard the word contrast, and then there's clarity. Contrast, clarity. Contrast is what you don't want. Clarity is what you do. It's actually that simple. And you will, every day of your life, there's contrast, and then there's clarity. And people are like, well, why do I have to have contrast? If there's God, if there's the divine, if there's spirit, why do I have contrast? You might have contrast from the unconscious thoughts that we talked about from childhood. You might have the contrast from your ancestral DNA. You might have the contrast from a trauma that happened to your mother that's now in you. Though that contrast is there for a reason, for us to step into clarity. Now, the majority of humans start in contrast, stay in contrast, live in contrast, die in contrast. And there's not a judgment about that at all, because damn, life is hard. Remember I said life is hard, do it this way or that way. But there's never been a time on the planet, ever, that so many people are doing the work. So many, which is so exciting. A lot of it is our forefather teachers like the Wayne Dyers, Louise Hayes of the world, who really like panned the way. A lot of people have taught this work for a gazillion years. But what if you call it the new age movement or whatever, there's an uprising that's happening of consciousness for people. And that makes me so excited. And so there's no other time than now to really dive into the work. And because more and more people are doing it, more and more people are having these conversations. I find it quite humorous and funny. I remember a couple of years ago, I got asked to teach this workshop in Whistler. I show up at this workshop, and I used to have a place in Whistler that I used to share with other people way back in the day, like 20 something years ago, when I was in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And the workshop I walk into was all late 20, 30 or 30 year olds. When I would go to Whistler back pre-kids, and I had this place, we would just go up, go skiing and get drunk, go skiing, get drunk, go skiing, get drunk. It was just what I did. Late 20s, that's what you do. As I walk into this workshop of all of these late 20-year-olds, I'm like, what the hell? You guys should be skiing and getting drunk. What are you guys doing here? Asking for a consciousness workshop. And I laughed so hard, but I was also so excited because all of these younger people are doing the work. All of these younger people. And I'm like, oh my God, there is a mass consciousness. You're in the right place at the right time. Right place, right time. And what we're also seeing as a result of that is more illness, more marital dysfunction, more health dysfunction. And that's okay because the contrast is building, but the clarity is right there. And contrast will never end until the day you die. It's really about your relationship with contrast. It's about your relationship with not sleeping well. It's your relationship with the fights with your partner. It's a relationship with that contrast, knowing that clarity in the divine is there 24/7. Okay, I'm going to teach one more section, and then we are going to move into Q&A, I think, unless there's any questions coming in. I just want to make sure. Okay. So I want to make sure I haven't. Okay, there's one more section before I teach. Okay, yeah. Okay, so something I haven't talked about, but probably the most important part of this work, but often the one people learn when they first start it, but then they forget. Two words, mindfulness and observer. Mindfulness is in this moment. Remember, I talk with my hands. Right now, in this moment, use my glasses. I am in the center of my awareness. That's mindfulness. Is I am aware of what I am thinking, but I'm not attached to it. That's mindfulness. One of the most important things you will ever do. Oh, look, I'm thinking I suck. Oh, look, I'm thinking I don't matter. Oh, look, I'm thinking I'm sad, or whatever. Oh, look, like that's mindfulness. Now, observer goes hand in hand. The reason they're the most important parts of this work is because, you know how I was talking a few minutes ago, habits? How many of us grab our phone way too many times an hour? Well, why? How many of us, have knee-jerk responses? Why? It's because I've worked with a lot of people who are in this work who have been doing it longer than I have. The piece that's the most tripping piece for everybody is what am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now? And am I attached to it or not? Being mindful and being the observer of your thoughts and emotions is massive, okay? I know that sometimes I'll work with clients and they don't know necessarily what they're feeling, which is sort of the benefit of being intuitive. And when they actually observe it and go, oh, look, I'm really thinking grief or guilt. But a lot of people, if you're not seeing it outside of you, it becomes you, right? There's a gap between you and your thoughts. There's a gap between you and your emotions. And that's so important for us to realize. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. An emotion is energy that's moving through you. But they really wanted me to add that mindfulness and observation, because it is something that we forget. Okay. Now, the last section of my workshop before I go into Q&A is this. I want you all to, so we're going to start with the eyes open, and then we're going to do eyes closed. I want you to hear these statements and see what happens. First, we're going to try eyes open. I am loved. See what happens in your body and your mind. Take a breath. Now close your eyes. Put your hand on your heart. Close your eyes. And say the statement. I am loved. And I want you to repeat it in your head 5 or 10 times, or say it out loud if you wish. I am loved. I am loved. I am loved. Take a big belly breath. Keep your eyes closed. And now use the statement. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Eyes closed. Try the statement. Love created me as love. Love created me as love. Love created me as love. We'll try one or two more. I am open to miracles. I am open to miracles. I am open to miracles. One more they want. I am ready to let love in. I am ready to be love. I am ready to be love. And I want me to say one more thing before I hear from you guys. There's a reason you're here in this workshop. There's a reason you're into this type of work. It's because each and every one of us signed up to be the contract, signed up for a contract to shift what's happening on the planet. And we can only do that if each of us does our personal work of being love, of expecting miracles, of knowing you are love, knowing you are enough. And each of us signed up for it. Each, every one of us signed a contract and said, I'm going to go down there, bloody hell, and I'm going to make a difference. Each of us did. And each of us are being asked in our personal lives to be that with our partners, our kids, our work people, with ourselves, with our mothers, our fathers, to forgive and love. And repeat and repeat and repeat. And if you're having issues along the way, health issues, it's just because part of your mind's got another story. Relationship issues, mind's got another story. That's all it is. Money issues, same thing. So go back to the thought. I am love. I am love. Love created me as itself. Say that a few times. Love created me as love. After saying this to yourself, love created me as love. There you go. Keep doing that. Perfect. Take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, please open your eyes and type into the chat box what you're feeling, what you're noticing. How are you feeling? What are you noticing in your body? Type into the chat box. Love created me as love. Calm. Calm writes Lily. Audrey writes, yes, I answered the clarion call, and I chose to before the foundation of the world. Nice. That's this place for a reason. I am one with God. I am the divine. I am joy. I am peace. I'm going to cry. Marilee wrote, she feels warm. Bernard wrote, calm and ease. Steph, I love this. Feeling of nausea, receiving lots of messages. As you know, Steph, the nausea is just the energy leaving, the fear that's leaving. That's it. Take a few breaths. And just bring in your divine support team. Feel how much you are loved, how much you are adored, how much you are present. A couple other ones coming in. Anna writes, she feels reassured. She is glad to remember what she once knew. I literally am going to cry. Kimber wrote, she's excited and peaceful. Alexandra wrote, she feels more lighter. Thank you so very much, Divi. Okay, we're not done yet. We're at the 11. I love it. My heart is full. Thank you. And I'm teasing you when I say that. Because I'm going to do Q&A in a second. I'm just going to make sure we're almost done. Almost done. Vibrating through my hands and chest, happiness for stillness. Awesome, Amanda. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm still getting used to these things. Okay. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, just before we wrap, and I'm going to move to Q&A. I'm going to stop recording in just a minute. I want to share with you if anyone is feeling a pull. I have a couple offerings, which is part and parcel of what I'm up to. So I've got 4 offerings, which sounds like a lot, so don't freak out. Next Saturday here in Vancouver, I'm doing a live in-person workshop. If anyone wants to come, it's going to be super fun. It's over there somewhere near Whole Foods on Cambion Broadway. If anyone wants to come, it's on my website. It's called The Unlimited Life. I'll put all these tabs in the follow-up email. If anyone wants to come, feel free. It's from 10 to 4:30. If you've never come to an interactive workshop like me, it's wild. It's fun. That's all I got to say. Let me just describe it so you understand. It's different, but similar to this. I teach, so what I do is I sit down with these cards prior to the class, and I will get downloads of what to write. So each person comes to anything that I teach. I want to understand my process. People come and I know what they want to learn, and I sit prior and I write down what it is that I'm getting guided to teach. That's what I do. And so I'll come into the workshop with 10 or 20 cards. And then I start teaching from the cards, but then I'm also doing intuitive work with everyone in the room. That's what I do. So when you leave the workshop, you will leave both with learnings from whatever came through for you, and then also from everybody else. That's one of the beauties of the work I do, is that you're actually going to learn from a lot of other people, not just me. So that's next Saturday. It's called The Unlimited Life down here in Vancouver. I'd love you to come. The next option I've got is I teach a 4-month program called Mind, Body, Spirit. You can join for a month, 2 months, 4 months. It's phenomenal. Kimber's in it. A few other of you guys are in it. It's phenomenal. It's about, I have to do the math. It's about 8 hours of me a month. You'll be like so sick of me. It's 8 hours of me a month. I do 4 teachings and then 2 Q&A, 2 what's called office hours or Q&As. And so that's on my website. It's called the Mind, Body, Spirit program. It's super fun. It's super intensive. The third option is the Shift Network. I'm doing something with them starting this Thursday coming up. It's all about intuition. It's all about, if you're very clairsentient, how to increase your clairvoyance. And so moving your clairs and really working with all your clairs. That's the Shift Network. And then lastly, I teach a 9-month immersion called Intuitive Coach Training Program. It starts in March, and it's like the deepest of what I teach. Okay. So if I was to put these on the grade scales, ICT is like grade, like university level, PhD. And just so your brain gets it. Just so your brain gets it. A 1-day workshop is like, they said, no, don't grade it. I'm not going to grade it. ICT is the most advanced thing I teach because it is a deep experiential everyday learning. And so that's that. And now I'm going to move to Q&A and we'll see what happens. Okay, let's do that. And in the Q&A, I'm going to stop recording in a second. In the Q&A, they're actually telling me not to record it. So I may not record the Q&A. Let's just see what happens. Let's stop recording. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I should say that for people who are doing the recording. Thank you. Well, let me read this. Wait, before I shift. Lily writes, I'm excited to start the shift course. Yay, I'm so excited. Oh, thank you, Lily. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Bernardo writes, I like the notion, love the notion of balancing spirit and mind. Could you expand a bit on how does it feel? I'm going to answer this before I go into Q&A, I think. How does it feel when mind and spirit are actually aligned, i.e. how do I recognize I'm getting closer or further away? Maybe like ease versus stress, i.e. can I use emotions to guide me, give feedback every moment so I catch myself early on? I'm going to answer that question out loud in the Q&A. Okay, let me hit stop record. Okay, perfect.